Today we celebrate feminine beauty in this theme and era, expressed through style, elegance, posture, and presence. Picture this. 1976, and a young woman walks into her college dorm, wearing a faded Led Zeppelin shirt, her hair catching the afternoon light, radiating the kind of effortless confidence that only comes from being part of something bigger than yourself. The concert t-shirt wasn't just clothing, it was her badge of belonging, her declaration of musical allegiance, and her connection to a moment that would define an entire generation of women who dared to rock. What transformed a simple cotton shirt into the most coveted piece of feminine fashion of the decade? By 1978, nearly 40% of concert merchandise buyers were women, turning what started as band promotion into a movement of personnel expression that would reshape how young women presented themselves to the world. The 1970s marked a seismic shift in American culture, and women were at the epicenter of this musical revolution. As bands like Fleetwood Mac, Heart, and the Eagles dominated the airwaves, women weren't just listening. They were attending concerts in unprecedented numbers, claiming their space in venues from Madison Square Garden to small-town amphitheaters. The concert t-shirt became their uniform of independence, a way to announce their musical sophistication while maintaining an authentically casual elegance that spoke to the era's evolving feminine ideals. The look itself was deceptively simple, yet powerfully distinctive. These weren't the fitted, carefully tailored garments of previous decades. Instead, concert t-shirts embraced a relaxed, unstructured silhouette that allowed women to move with natural grace and confidence. The standard cut featured a slightly boxy fit through the torso, with sleeves that hit just above the elbow, creating clean lines that complemented rather than constrained the feminine form. The neckline was typically a modest crew cut, sometimes with a slight scoop that added subtle sophistication without sacrificing comfort. The fabric itself told a story of authenticity and durability. Made from 100% cotton in weights that felt substantial yet breathable, these shirts developed character with each wash and wear. The slightly rough texture of new cotton would gradually soften into a luxurious hand feel that seemed to improve with age. Colors ranged from classic black and white to deep navy blues, forest greens, and rich burgundies that complemented the earth-toned palettes women were embracing throughout the decade. What made these shirts particularly appealing to women was their versatility in styling. A Stevie Nicks tour shirt could be tucked into high-waisted levis for a structured look, or left loose and flowing over a peasant skirt for a more bohemian aesthetic. The graphics themselves became conversation starters, bold band logos, intricate album artwork, and tour dates that served as timestamps of musical memories. Women learned to style these pieces with accessories that elevated the casual foundation, delicate gold chains, leather wristbands, and the perfectly positioned silk scarf that added feminine sophistication to rock and roll edge. The color palettes were earthy yet vibrant, reflecting both the decade's natural aesthetic and the bold personalities of the music itself. Concert shirts in burnt orange featured bands like the Allman Brothers, while deep purple shirts showcased acts like Deep Purple and Black Sabbath. Pink Floyd shirts often came in black with their iconic prism design rendered in rainbow foil, creating pieces that were as much art as apparel. The graphics were screen-printed with techniques that ensured longevity, allowing the imagery to become part of the shirt's character as it aged. By the late 70s, certain brands had established themselves as the premier manufacturers of concert merchandise. Winterland Productions became synonymous with quality tour shirts, their distinctive tags becoming marks of authenticity that women recognized and sought out. These shirts weren't just souvenirs, they were collectible pieces that demonstrated both musical knowledge and fashion awareness. The attention to detail in construction reflected an era when casual wear was beginning to receive the same consideration as formal fashion. Reinforced seams, quality thread, and carefully applied graphics showed that even casual pieces deserved craftsmanship. Women appreciated these details, understanding that a well-made concert shirt would become a cherished part of their wardrobe for years to come, growing more beautiful and comfortable with each wearing, setting the stage for how these simple cotton canvases would weave themselves into the very fabric of feminine expression throughout the decade. The feminine beauty of the 70s found its perfect canvas in these simple cotton shirts, transforming casual concert wear into statements of personal style and musical sophistication. Women discovered endless ways to elevate the basic concert t-shirt into something uniquely their own. The key was in the layering and accessorizing that became second nature to the era's fashion-conscious music lovers. A Fleetwood Mac shirt might be worn under a vintage blazer for a college class, then stripped down to just the shirt and perfectly fitted jeans for an evening out. The contrast between the shirt's casual foundation and more polished elements created a dynamic tension that epitomized 70s style. Approachable yet sophisticated, relaxed yet intentional. The culture surrounding these shirts was as important as the garments themselves. Concert venues became fashion runways where women showcased not just their musical taste, but their styling creativity. The ritual of getting dressed for a show was an art form unto itself. Women would spend careful consideration choosing which shirt to wear, often selecting pieces that connected them to previous concerts or demonstrated their long-standing loyalty to particular artists. A woman wearing a 1974 Joni Mitchell shirt to a 1977 Eagles concert was making a statement about her musical journey and sophisticated taste. Record stores became informal fashion exchanges, where women would gather not just to browse albums, but to admire each other's vintage tour shirts. These spaces fostered a sense of community among female music enthusiasts, who understood that their shared appreciation for both music and style created bonds that went beyond simple fandom. The coffee shops near college campus saw women meeting for afternoon conversations, their concert shirts serving as conversation starters that could launch discussions about everything from guitar solos to upcoming tour dates. The workplace presented interesting styling challenge is that many women navigated with characteristic 70s creativity. A concert shirt could be made office appropriate with the addition of a silk scarf tied at the neck, transforming rock and roll casual nanas into something approaching business casual. Creative professionals in advertising agencies and design studios found that their music-inspired wardrobe choices actually enhanced their credibility, suggesting they were plugged into current cultural trends and understood the youth market their companies were trying to reach. Home life in the 70s often revolved around music, and concert shirts became the perfect attire for hosting informal dinner parties, where friends would gather to listen to new albums and share concert experiences. Women learned that these shirts created an atmosphere of relaxed sophistication that encouraged genuine conversation and connection. The sight of a hostess wearing a well-loved Carole King shirt while serving homemade bread and wine suggested someone who valued both comfort and authenticity. Weekend activities took on new dimensions when women embraced the versatility of concert t-shirts. Saturday morning farmers market trips called for a Crosby, Stills, Nash shirt paired with flowing bell-bottom jeans and leather sandals. Sunday afternoon museum visits might feature a more understated Bob Dylan shirt tucked into a meaty skirt with low-heeled boots. The shirts adapted to any setting while maintaining their core message. This woman knew good music and wasn't afraid to show it. The sensory memories associated with these shirts created lasting emotional connections. The feel of soft cotton that had been washed dozens of times. The faint scent of concert venues that seemed to linger in the fabric. The way certain graphics would crack and fade in patterns that told the story of countless wearings. All of these elements combined to make each shirt a personal archive of musical experiences. women would catch themselves running their fingers over familiar logos during quiet moments, remembering specific concerts. Friends who had shared those experiences, and the person they were becoming through their musical discoveries. The most sophisticated women of the era understood that timing was everything when it came to concert shirt selection. A brand new shirt suggested enthusiasm but lacked the patina of experience that marked a true music aficionado. The perfect concert shirt showed just enough wear to prove authenticity without appearing neglected, creating a visual balance that spoke to both dedication and care. This understanding of the shirt's life cycle became part of feminine wisdom passed between friends, sisters, and fellow music lovers, establishing the groundwork for how these simple garments would influence fashion and music culture for decades beyond their 70s origins. The impact of 70s concert t-shirts on feminine beauty reached far beyond the decade itself, establishing a template for authentic personal expression that continues to resonate today. Women discovered that these shirts possessed an almost magical ability to transcend social boundaries and economic differences. A college student wearing a Pink Floyd shirt and a young professional in the same design could find instant common ground. Their shared musical appreciation, creating connections that might never have formed otherwise. This democratizing effect spread throughout American culture, appearing in fashion magazines by 1979, where editors began featuring concert shirts styled in unexpected ways, paired with pearls and blazers, tucked into designer skirts, or layered under vintage cardigans. The influence extended into retail spaces as department stores began carrying band merchandise alongside traditional women's clothing. Bloomingdale's and Lord Taylor started dedicating small sections to music-inspired fashion, recognizing that their female customers wanted to incorporate this authentic element into their broader wardrobes. Fashion photographers began capturing models wearing concert shirts in editorial spreads, lending high fashion credibility to what had started as simple venue merchandise. Television programming reflected this cultural shift as female hosts and guests began appearing in subtly music-inspired clothing. Talk shows featured women wearing tastefully styled band shirts under blazers, while variety shows showcased performers who mixed concert wear with more traditional feminine elements. This mainstream media presence helped normalize the idea that musical appreciation could be a sophisticated element of feminine presentation rather than a rebellious statement. The concert shirt phenomenon influenced buying patterns in ways that surprised retailers and manufacturers. Women began purchasing multiple versions of the same design, understanding that having backup copies allowed them to preserve their most treasured original shirts while still being able to wear the look regularly. This collecting behavior created a secondary market where rare or vintage concert shirts commanded premium prices, establishing the foundation for what would become a significant collecting culture. The workplace acceptance of casual Friday policies can be traced directly to the cultural shifts that concert shirts helped create. As women demonstrated that music-inspired clothing could be styled professionally, employers began relaxing dress codes that had previously required strictly traditional business attire. This evolution opened doors for broader acceptance of personal expression through clothing choices, fundamentally changing American workplace culture. The first signature of 70s concert shirt beauty was its perfect imperfection. The way these garments improved with age and wear. Unlike traditional fashion that aimed for pristine presentation, concert shirts celebrated the patina of experience. A slightly faded Black Sabbath logo or strategically placed where patterns told stories of concerts attended, adventures shared, and memories made. The second signature was versatility that transcended traditional fashion categories. These shirts effortlessly moved between casual and dressed-up contexts, allowing women to maintain their authentic musical identity regardless of the social setting. This adaptability became a model for how modern women approach wardrobe building, seeking pieces that can serve multiple functions while expressing personal values. The third signature was the emotional resonance that transformed simple cotton and graphics into treasured possessions. Women developed deep attachments to these shirts that went beyond typical clothing relationships, creating garments that served as portable museums of personal musical history. This emotional connection established a new category of meaningful fashion that prioritized authentic experience over temporary trends. Today, when we see a woman confidently wearing vintage band merchandise, we're witnessing the continuing influence of those pioneering 70s music lovers who understood that true feminine beauty comes from authentic self-expression rather than conformity to external expectations. They showed us that style could be both personal and universal, that casual could be sophisticated, and that the things we love most deeply deserve to be worn proudly. The concert shirt revolution of the 70s proved that feminine elegance doesn't require complexity or expense. Sometimes it simply requires the courage to wear your passions openly, and the wisdom to style them with intention. As we move forward into new decades of fashion and music, the essential truth these women discovered remains unchanged. The most beautiful thing any woman can wear is her authentic self, expressed through the things that bring her joy and connect her to the communities and experiences that matter most.